Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been such a long time, everybody, that I have not been on here. As always, let me start off by saying welcome to my latest subscribers. I welcome you to this channel. This channel is to glorify the righteousness of God while being real and transparent with you all. Secondly, let me just start off by thanking so many people with all the comments, all the concerns of where I've been. People have been wanting an update of what has took place since the last video of the reconciliation with my husband. I have to be honest and say that I have needed time to process and decompress, and this is why people had not heard from me. Before I go into everything that have took place, let me just thank my beautiful sister Carrie, my beautiful sister Sonia, my beautiful sister Cynthia, my beautiful sister Christine, Melissa. It's been so many, and my brothers in Christ, it's been so many people who have reached out to me via email, where it's email, text, phone calls, to just check on me and see how I am doing. You guys, I was blindsided. Let me just say that I'm not currently with my husband. I did believe that we were reconciling back to each other. As you guys seen in the last video, I was preparing myself to come to Memphis to join with him with what I thought was going to be, our life together. Well, I did that, but in the process of that, my husband turned on me. I really didn't want to come on here and even give you guys an update like this because I didn't want people to be discouraged. I know that I have been one that have been so strong in my faith, of what I know is right and true, and for me to be blindsided, it just it took my breath away. My heart was, broken, and I have to be honest, as I've told sisters, that, my heart wasn't really broken because of my husband or our marriage. It was because of my kids. This time when I came, I brought my kids with me, my two daughters and my granddaughter. And for my husband to turn on me like he did, with like no regard for me or them, it hurt me to my core. I'm like a person, like, you can do whatever you want to do to me, but when you involve my babies, that's a whole different level of hurt. Then I had questions, for God, like, why? I have been I have been standing, I have been encouraging, I have been, ministering, I have been witnessing. I don't understand, like, how come I didn't see this? Like, why did it take for me to come here for this to happen? And I just was going through with God, in all honesty, because I didn't even understand. It's amazing how you have all the answers, for other people, but then when it comes to yourself, you kind of stuck, like, what? And so God said to me, he said, your husband's rebellion against me has nothing to do with your obedience to me, which is true. It don't, because I have been obedient to God, and I'm not going to stop being obedient to God. And just because, my husband turned on me, that don't mean that God's word still is not right. It just means that my husband wasn't ready to live right. And by no means, and let me just say this, if his family or he is watching this, I'm not trying to bash him. If anything, I feel sorry for him. I really, really honestly do. And I know people can be, it's like, what? But I feel sorry for a person that is just willingly ready to forfeit their eternal salvation for nothing. You know, I'm not going to go into, all the details of what happened. Um, but I will say this. God gave us the opportunity to once again come back together and do it right. And the first time, which was a year ago, me and him both, didn't handle the situation correctly. And as I told you guys, I didn't previously because I still was dealing with the spirit of rejection. And I didn't know that until, I came back to Minnesota, went back to Minnesota and I fast. And then the Lord told me, why I responded to the way that I did with my husband. I should have dealt with him in love and humility, regardless of, how he, handled me. Okay, so this time around, as me and my husband thoroughly have talked, I handle him differently. I didn't respond the way that I, previously done. And I thank God for that because that goes to show me how much I have grown. With all the things that, was taking place towards me, I was personally holding on to the things that was happening in his household, like he was attacking my kids. And that is what, like, that's what devastated me. My husband had the opportunity to walk in complete deliverance this time, and he didn't do it. And my husband also know from from a year ago, all the things that God took him through, all the Pharaoh scenarios he took him through, he should have fought to continue to keep walking upright, and he didn't. I will say, you guys, that my husband tried to use what I did to him over 20 something years ago to justify his ill behavior towards me. But that can't work because my husband told me before I came that he had forgave me and he was ready to move forward. He was ready to have a life with me and our children. I feel like my husband used the excuse of what I did 20 years ago to continue to indulge in practices that he never left alone. And one of those things is the harlot. And I have to just call it how it is. His son's mother is a harlot. And we got into it, got into an argument. He said, well, you did the same thing. Yes, I did. In my early days, I did. I did the act of a harlot. But what's so funny is I'm not a harlot anymore, and he knew that. I haven't indulged in any of those type of things, and he knew that. And I said to him, it's so funny that you say that, but you're with women who was just like how I was back then. So I was a harlot back then, and you're with harlots now. And you keep conducting yourself in adultery and then wonder why you're continuing to not be able to so-called forgive me. When my husband said to me, you guys, I said, when are you gonna let it go? You know what I mean? Like, when you gonna let it go? That man said he will never let it go. So that goes to show me that he's a brother full of pride. He's a brother full of blame. He didn't really forgive. And that's what bothers me too, because I feel like his intentions towards me the entire time we were talking was not genuine, that it was deceptive. Because if he felt the way that he did, and he knew he was feeling that way, and he hid it, and he allowed me to relocate to a total different place, in a foreign place where we don't have any family or friends, that was wrong. You know, my 22-year-old felt, when it was all going on, she said, "Mommy, I believe that he's trying to get revenge on you for what you did when you guys were kids." And I said, "No, no, 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 no. I don't believe that he did that. He would do that." But that's exactly what ended up coming out, is that he's trying to use what I did. And what gets me, you guys, is that I used to grieve and mourn my husband. I used to feel so bad, you know, of what I did. And that was a part of the brokenness that kept me bound, until the Lord said to me, where it started at with you with adultery is no different than how you both have continued to do it throughout the years. So he can't blame you for the very thing that he's doing himself. So when the Lord said that, and he was letting me know that you released of that, I have not felt the guilt of that anymore. I repented. I moved forward. I'm not that girl anymore. But what I feel is going on is that the little boy that was wounded long ago with my husband is superseding over the man that he really is supposed to be. So the little boy in him is controlling the man that he is really supposed to be. And again, I don't say these things to, you know, bash him. You know, that's not godly. You know, I'm just being open and honest. And if he be really open and honest too, he would admit, like, you know, she's telling the truth. I didn't deserve what I got. It was unjust. It was uncalled for. I mean, I uprooted my life, y'all, and came to a totally different place, again, with no family, no friends, trying to do what's right. And the hurtful part about it all is that I cried to God and said, you know, Lord, I would exhaust myself in the wrong relationships trying to have love when I was in adultery. I would exhaust myself doing it the wrong way. And I can see why it didn't get anywhere. But this time, Abba, this time, I did what was right. I held my ground. I stood on your word. I spoke into his life. I fasted, I prayed, I cried, I worshiped, I praised, I encouraged, I ministered. And for me to get hurt for doing what is right, it just blew my mind. Like, wow. So then I'm saying to the Lord, how do I go back on here and speak to my subscribers about them standing on the promises of your word when we all thought the manifestation of your word took place in my situation? And then look what happened. It came again that just because my husband did not do what is right by his word don't mean that God's word is not right. And just because, again, my husband was rebellious, he has been rebellious against God, don't mean that I have a choice, that I basically will be disobedient to God. It is the Lord who has delivered me. It's the Lord who set me free. It's the Lord that continues to heal me. I had to go through, like me, I'm the type of person that I have to, I grieve. I have to grieve for a moment, and then, try to get things in a right perspective, because the main thing is that I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be in unforgiveness when it comes to anybody, and especially my husband. I heard a lot of different things, like I would never talk to him again. He allowed you guys to come and then he turns on you. I thought about all of that. We're girls here, we don't know anybody. And for my husband to act like, you know, um, he don't care. He didn't, call to check on us. I haven't even got an apology from my husband. It just goes to show me, in all honesty, how far apart he is from God. And then I was saying too, like, wow, he didn't learn nothing this past year that we was apart. God didn't humble him enough. Now I feel he's going to have a King Nebuchadnezzar experience. He's going to be out in the wilderness. He's going to feel lost. And God did tell me that. He's lost, and God's going to make him continue to be a certain way for a while, until my husband bow down and confess that God is God. He's not going to be able to hide behind the relationship with his son anymore. He's not going to be able to hide behind harlots. He's not going to be able to hide behind pride. He's not going to be able to hide behind blame. He's not going to be able to hide behind any of those negative things anymore, because God has a calling on my husband's life, whether he keep running from it. And this is a crazy part. If we don't do what we were called to do, then anything that we try to do ain't gonna work. And that's just the bottom line to it. Anything we try to do outside of what we were called to do is not gonna work. Um, I will say too, and I know you guys, I'm kind of all over the place because I just wanted to fill you in. Um, Me and my girls are okay. We still here in Memphis. Um, this is just a new journey for me. I feel like it's a journey, for myself. Remember, I always talked about how important it is that we take care of ourselves. It's important for us, you know, um, to be right within. And this is what I'm on now. It's like a cleansing from inside and out, to just again become better. I don't want to be bitter. I really honestly don't. That's not who I am. I can be upset with somebody one day, and then by the end of the day I don't feel that way. With my husband, and the way in which he mishandled me, that is something that he's got to deal with God. God fought my battle this last time, and he's fighting this one this time as well. But I will say, you guys, I'm standing for me. Um and I told God, if it's ever going to be, because you know the plans that you have for me. You said in your word, it's a plan to give me hope in the future. And if that includes my husband, then he will have to come for me now. I'm not saying that I'm not praying for him, because I still pray for his total deliverance, but he's not the center piece of that anymore. Um I haven't put him at the forefront like I was doing before. I put me there now, because I want to be right before God. I want to make it to heaven. I want to know that, with me, God is well pleased. Again, if it's meant to be for us or anybody, and God knows the plans he have for you, for me, then it will happen. I want to be in a place where the day, my husband, he may have my husband call me, and I don't feel any, I don't feel upset. I don't feel hurt. I don't feel wounded. I don't feel any of those things. I truly, want to feel that I have forgiven him and I can speak again into his life. Right now, it's just me taking this time for myself, for God to continue to condition my heart the right way, and I'm grateful for that, because it was a time in my life where I would take matters in my own hands. I would have been on something destructive. I would have turned around and compensated the loss of my husband with someone else. And it just amazed me how far I have come. And I'm just grateful for that. Like, I have no desire to turn back to the world. I have no desire to be with anybody else. Another thing is that I wasn't with anybody for almost 4 years intimately. I was not. And my husband took my body, and he took my body without the intentions of covering it and protecting it. And therefore, because he did that, there's like, that it's a suffering that he's gonna have to go through this time, because he allowed me to bring my kids. There's a suffering, and it's sad to me. I know God is not pleased, and he's not happy with the choices and decisions in which my husband made when it came to me and my girls. And sometimes, he has to break them all the way down, guys, to rebuild them back up. And I just really hope that for his life. I don't want anything but that man to be on fire for God, to live his life in spirit and truth, for him to have the awakening like, oh my gosh, I did all that I did for absolutely nothing. But I'm so grateful that God loved me in spite of myself and gave me this opportunity to live right before him. And I hope one day I will be able to hear that from him, and he's really walking in that. So with that being said, I know this is kind of long, but I just wanted to come on here real quick and just let you guys know that I am okay. Unfortunately, things happen the way that they did. It's just sad to me, because I really thought this time, was right. My husband made me feel like he was really ready, and I would have never put myself or my girls in this position to come to a foreign place if I felt like, if I would have got any type of inclination that he wasn't. But then again, sometimes God gotta take you away from all that you comfortable with and get you by yourself, so that you can stand up and you can just completely rely on him. And I had the luxury of relying on my parents and my family and other people around me. So I get it. Even though I'm in a foreign place, he still has provided me milk and honey, and I'm grateful for that. So with that being said, I probably will be back on here again. Just know again that I am good. Just continue to uplift my heart and my mind. I want to continue to keep elevating from glory to glory. I don't want this situation, what the enemy tried to use for bad, to stop me, because God has a plan in everything. Again, I thank every sister and every brother in my life that sincerely and genuinely have reached out to me, that let me know they praying for me, they worried about me, they concerned for me. and those that is continuing to pray over my husband's life, because he most definitely, he needs that. He needs deliverance, and I pray that that will happen for him. So with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.